Good afternoon. Today I'll be talking about one of a very famous speech by one of our former presidents, Abraham Lincoln, the Gettysburg Address speech. This speech was introduced for the Civil War, towards the end of the Civil War. It wasn't a very impactful speech to the war, per se. It was more of an iconic, they called it a masterpiece, more than effectiveness, which you would think a speech would affect the war more than people would think it's a cool speech, because I guess it was a cool speech, but that's what I got when I was researching it up. But nonetheless, let's talk about the speech. So here we go. The speech was also addressed on November 19th, 1863, on a battlefield near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That's why it's called the Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of war. We have came to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who have gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow the ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world with little note, nor long remember what we say here. But it cannot forgive what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which they have fought here, have thus so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from those honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they have gave us the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that those dead shall not die in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Also, the war was also a 4-year long war. It was from 1861 to 1865, so he read this around 1863, which was kind of towards the end of the war, but not too close to the end of the war. And then also he did get killed after the war by John Wilkes Booth on April 5th, 1865, and that was credited by Fords.org. And then over 620,000 soldiers lost their lives during this war, and that was credited by Battlefields.org. So, and it was also one of the top bloody wars in America that America has ever experienced. So, thank you.